Lou Palmer-Masterton, the owner of 3 vegan restaurants, says it was a logical progression to add carbon labeling to the menus. All 3 branches of her STEM and Glory mini chain were already using only renewable energy and participating in reusable lunchbox and cup schemes, but she wanted to go one step further. So, now the menus at the 2 outlets in London and 1 in Cambridge are set to include a carbon dioxide emission score for each and every item. This is something I've thought about for a while, and even though all our products are plant-based, I was still curious about the impact they have on the environment, says Ms. Palmer-Masterton. This movement is exploding right now, and it makes sense. To work out and display the carbon scores for each of its dishes, STEM and Glory has gone to a UK startup tech firm called Foodsteps. Launched in 2020, the Foodsteps website and app allows food firms and restaurants to calculate the carbon dioxide produced by a particular product or dish from farm to fork. Foodsteps' software system contains a database of carbon dioxide release figures, including calculations of everything from various fertilizers to the method of delivery of raw materials, the cooking process, the manufacturing of any packaging, and any refrigerated or frozen storage. To gather all this data, Foodsteps says it has used thousands of peer-reviewed scientific studies, alongside our own primary research.
Restaurants and food firms who pay to sign up to its scheme can then display their Foodsteps carbon scores on their menus or packaging from AT. They can also add a QR code to link to a web page focusing on the other environmental credentials of the food item in question. The founder and chief executive of Foodsteps, Anya Doherty, came up with the idea for the business when she was researching sustainable food systems as a postgraduate at the University of Cambridge. She says the Foodsteps system goes into micro detail. It's a puzzle to figure out because it's about understanding the different life cycles a food goes through. For example, every crop acts in a different way, depending on where it's located. And what kind of fertilizer do they use? As global leaders continue to meet at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP26, in Glasgow, the issue of reducing carbon dioxide emissions has never been more prescient. It is particularly important for the food sector, as one report earlier this year said that world food production may account for as much as 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions from human activities. Yet, one issue for companies keen to adopt a carbon labeling system is which system they should select, as there are now a number of different schemes to choose from. In the UK, they include the before-mentioned Foodsteps, which has funding from government agency Innovate UK, and currently has 20 or so clients. Also UK-based is the long-established carbon labelling scheme provided by the UK's Carbon Trust. This organisation was launched by the UK government back in 2001, but is now a private company, and its labelling is offered globally. In addition, there is a new labeling scheme offered by a not-for-profit organization called Foundation Earth, which registers carbon emissions as part of a wider environmental impact score. This is backed by most of the UK's main supermarkets, and Nestlé. Meanwhile, food giant Unilever, the maker of everything from Hellmann's mayonnaise to Ben and Jerry's ice cream and Persil washing power, is working on its own carbon labeling. A spokesperson for the Carbon Trust says, the organization hopes that the increasing number of carbon labeling schemes all follow correct calculation methods. We recognize that there are a growing number of carbon labeling schemes currently on offer, but in order to maintain rigorous standards, we would like to see consistency with product carbon footprinting with a cradle-to-grave approach for consumer-facing products. This includes using high-quality, transparent, primary data when making an analysis, as well as using internationally recognized methodologies to measure carbon footprints. New Tech Economy is a series exploring how technological innovation is set to shape the new emerging economic landscape. What looks certain is that a majority of consumers would welcome carbon labeling, as a report for the Carbon Trust found. Its 2020 survey of more than 10,000 adults across France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, the UK, and the US discovered that 67% were in favor of the labeling. Christopher Kong, boss of UK meat alternative brand Better Nature, says he hopes that the transparency of carbon labeling will help stop the wider food industry being flooded with untruths, greenwashing, and unfulfilled promises. Better Nature's products, which are made from tempeh, fermented whole soybeans, use footsteps labeling, and score an A. Professor Mohini Sain of the University of Toronto is a global expert in the development of biodegradable food packaging. His concern regarding carbon labeling is how effective it can possibly be without governments legislating to force all companies to put the information on all their products. Will businesses only label their A-grade products and not label the ones that get an F? He says. There isn't any policy compelling them to release all the labels for their products, unlike how some countries mandate nutrition labels on all products. A number of countries are now looking at introducing mandatory carbon labeling, with France hoping to have a scheme in place by 2023. In the UK, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs says that while there is currently no intention to make carbon labeling a mandatory requirement, it is looking at the issue. Food information is robustly regulated in the UK and must not mislead consumers, says a DEFRA spokesman. This includes claims about a product's environmental impact. We will soon be reviewing all aspects of food labeling in the forthcoming Food Strategy White Paper. This will ensure all labeling provides consumers with the information needed to make safe and informed choices, while allowing for businesses to succeed and grow. Back at restaurant firm Stem and Glory, Ms. Palmer-Masterton says that the public would back mandatory labels. People want to know how the things they buy have a carbon impact on their daily lives.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe,